My name is Szilvia Szmuk-Tanenbaum. I found out about Rare Book School in the last century, even before the last quarter of the last century, and took some courses there, and somehow it's just stuck, and with some hiccups in between, it's been an ongoing relationship. My affiliation with Rare Book School is a continuum. Going back to real early New York City history, New York City went bankrupt in 1975 when I was the first fired at New York Public Library as a librarian 1. And I found a job after 6 months at St. John's University in New York, which is known for its basketball team, but it did have a small special collections. And although I was hired to be library science librarian for the collection that catered to the library school, within 3 weeks, the priest who was in charge of special collections gave me the keys and says, "Okay, you've got the job." So not knowing anything at all in 1976, I very quickly found out about Rare Book School. And I didn't enroll in Columbia because I wasn't an MLS. I had my MLS. I didn't need to enroll in Columbia. But Terry admitted me into the descriptive bibliography course. And I took that course as a standalone course for a whole entire academic year. And I learned an incredible amount. And I was thinking about the space while I was walking down here to the interview and thinking about what it was and what it is now, or what Alderman was in its last iteration. And honestly, I mean, what I remember is the patina of that room. And it was very little more than one room where Terry managed to cram in the printing press and everything else he needed, and a very good study collection. I took that one course, and then of course there were the summer courses that were offered. And I took, over 3 summers, I took 2 and 2 of those. And those were memorable. They were memorable because of the people who taught in them. Paul Banks, developing preservation programs in special collections. And Jan Merrill Oldham gave the very practical how to set up a preservation lab. It was very hands-on, and our textbook was looking at catalogs from Gaylord and whoever else was university products and whoever was in business at the time, and evaluating them, and it was just amazingly hands-on. And I believe it was the team of Roger Stoddard and Anthony Rhoda who taught one course about collecting for special collections, and they did a wonderful duo. And the other duo who was really good about running special collections was Sam Strite and Marilee Taylor from John Carter Brown. So the faculty was always outstanding. The people sitting around the table, the fellow students, were outstanding. And then there was not just in the summer, but during the year, there were the evening lectures. And the evening lectures, Terry's connection around the world. So whoever was flying through New York would stop for the extra day or the extra couple of days to deliver a lecture. And that was amazing. It was amazing to have people come in from London or come from the West Coast or wherever to deliver wonderful, wonderful lectures. Phyllis Gordon, who was already, must have been probably no older than I am now, but of course she seemed so much older at the time, who talked about being an undergraduate at Bryn Mawr and wanting to work with incunables, and her father didn't want her to go to Italy to look at them, so he bought them for her. So he had the largest collection of incunables just so that she wouldn't have to go traveling because Daddy didn't want her to. And the immediacy and the way she talked about her collection and what she learned, and she was quite a scholar. I remember Stan Nelson giving an entire, not a lecture as much as a whole demonstration about punch cutting and casting type that was several hours long, and we got to do it, and that was magical. I mean, suddenly this is before there were DVDs and YouTube and other ways of seeing it. You had to be there in person, and Rare Book School did have these people in person. William Todd talked about how he wanted to really have every single copy of the Gutenberg Bible on his desk so he could compare them, and how realistic was this. And he was very entertaining and very, very instructive and informational about that. Stephen Weissman was a very good speaker. Alexander Lawson was a good speaker. Columbia started that habit or that mode of conviviality where having a reception, having your cheese and wine and crackers and fruit, added to the collegiality and made people feel comfortable and made them stick around so that afterwards, it wouldn't be just 10 minutes of question and answer and everybody leaves. There was, maybe a whole hour of mingling and talking and networking and that kind of collegial coexistence. What got built into the schedule was breakfast together and then a morning break and then an afternoon break. And although people had lunch on their own, very few people really went off on their own. They went in small groups. So the networking is and the extended time spent together formally and informally has become a fabric of Rare Book School and Rare Book Schools. I think the tagline for Rare Book School ought to be transformative. I mean, that's the word that's used over and over again by people attending and saying what it does for their career. So I became a Grolier member, and that was just great fun. As a Grolier member happening, I met Charles Tannenbaum. So lo and behold, we met 2000 at the annual dinner, and 2 years later we were married. And Charles was a supporter of anything bookish, and as a supporter, he did things very informally, but he put in place a foundation, the Pine Tree Foundation, which would kick in after his death. And when he died in 2009, either to get me into trouble or to keep me out of trouble, one of those two, he put me in charge of the foundation. Hence, I am chief cook and bottle washer of the foundation. And then I got to know, Michael, and somehow through the foundation and through that connection, I was asked to be on the board, which has been great fun.